Every community should have a certain percentage of their lands in open space, and the land trust serves an extremely valuable role in ensuring that it's protected in perpetuity.
It doesn't matter if you have $1 million or a penny, anybody has access to the properties, and that's what's amazing. Without the land trust, a lot of these properties might not be accessible.
I have a mink that lives under the house and has lived here forever. There are merganser ducks, and they mate here, and they have at least a dozen babies each year. I've learned so much just living here. It's been such a joy, you know, and I want others to be able to enjoy that.
It's Fenimore Cooper territory. It's Otsego Lake. It's the novels. Look at it. It's the foothills of the Catskills. It's all about this part of New York and this part of America that's worth keeping pristine.
The land base is something we are totally dependent on. So we provide a balance to overdevelopment. We provide a balance to conservation. And it's important if we're going to maintain ourselves as a viable, decent civilization.
The organization is celebrating 30 years this year. People realized that this needs to be done. Land needs to be protected. Conservation easements need to be done on private land, and there was no organization at the time to do it. The Land Trust was born out of the need, born out of individuals who took the initiative.
The early years had to be attributed to people of vision, that first generation of people that have the passion and the wherewithal and the ability to start an organization like Otsego Land Trust.
The Land Trust was super focused on land protection, on acres, and accruing them over time. With each new executive director, we've evolved to becoming more of a community organization rather than just a conservation organization. Now the connection of people to the land is the impetus behind protecting land.
Thank you all very much for coming today. We got a lot done, and of course we couldn't do it without you. This place stays open for the public because of you. We cannot do it without your help. So thank you very much for all of your efforts here today.
In its 29th year, one of the things that the organization was still getting used to was its role as owner of public use lands.
We always watch for the eagle to come. We picnic here, so we use it. So if we're going to use it for free, then we should volunteer for free.
Where can you find a lake as pristine as this one that you can sit on the balcony of a Japanese tea house and simply sip a cup of tea?
Our conservation areas, we call it the Blue Way. It's a series of properties that the Land Trust owns to keep open for public access, as well as conserving the ecological values of the property.
The brand new role of being an owner of land that is for public use kind of puts on new responsibilities. But in the conservation world and the land trust world across the country, it's actually the next phase. Conservation easements with private landowners will always be an extremely important tool. But the opportunity now to engage the public in spaces that they can be inspired and teach the next generation, that also is important to do.
You'll see it's a pretty interesting place because for 6 Acre Island, it's got a well-established upland forest of oak and hickory, and we're going to see some beautiful large trees along the hike here.
And getting people out onto lands where they can explore and become part of nature kind of instills or maybe awakens a conservation ethic in their heart. It helps them to understand that they too can do their small part in protecting the lands and waters of this region, you know, the very fabric of what makes life here.
Making sure that tomorrow and the next day or next year we'll have dollars set aside to continue to care for the lands that we say are protected in perpetuity. The resources to monitor the private conservation easement lands, reminding our public that if you enjoy our properties, the Land Trust helps to make sure that these properties are here for you. That's really the important work that we have that has to carry on.